Hey guys, welcome. I'm Keegan with Seared and Smoked, and today we're checking out the Bronco Pro Drum Smoker from Oklahoma Joe. I'd say it's one of the more versatile smokers out there right out of the box, so I'm excited to show you all its features, plus maybe a few improvements for the folks at Oklahoma Joe when they make their next version, if they take the humble old opinion of a lonely YouTuber like myself. Okay, Oklahoma Joe was kind enough to send me the orange model, which I'm happy with. It comes in orange and black, but this is kind of like a nice Dukes of Hazzard orange. It's really sharp looking, glossy finish to it. I've enjoyed it. All right, let's go over some of the features here. We got this nice rubber handle, nice and big, easy to open. Nice big 22-inch grate. It's nice that it's kind of waist high. It's not real tall. You don't have to bend over a lot to get in there either. Very comfortable. Does have this built-in temperature gauge. It's pretty big, so it's easy to read. As far as temperature control, it's really easy. We got the air intake here. So the air intake is calibrated by these numbers. So you can, 1, 0 is pretty much closed. So you can kind of remember where you left it last time, which is nice. And same with the top. Top is a little larger, which makes sense, but it's calibrated just the same. So you can kind of coordinate your numbers. And you want the top a little larger, which it is. So it has more draw to keep the heat going the right direction out the top. And the air intake just goes down the side here and through the bottom. The air intake goes down the side, through the bottom, and up through the center. And there's also a drain cap there at the bottom, which you can remove. So when you're doing cleanup, you can kind of scrape grease in there and whatnot, and then easily unscrew that and pop it out, put it back, which is nice. Other exterior features. Got our side table there. Nothing too fancy, but gets the job done. Should hold a brisket for you. On the other side, we just have a handle here. Help for transport, rolling around. It is fairly easy to move around for something this large. It's 250 pounds, but the cast iron wheels do a pretty good job if you're on concrete or a patio-like surface. I love the hinge. It functions really nicely. You can see there's really very few parts, not complex, but it works really well. The lid's not too light and it's easy to lift. They did include a plate here for a name tag, so you could put a sticker on there if you're doing competition or you just want to have some fun in your backyard, or you could take off this plate, comes off, and you could have somebody engrave it too. All right, before we check out the fun features on the inside, let's check out the charcoal basket and how that works. So this is sitting on the bottom of the barrel. This is just basically an open ring. And then you have your charcoal basket here, which is nice and big, so that should hold plenty of charcoal. And then this pan here is your actual kind of ash pan, and also provides the airflow that comes up from the center. So airflow comes up through the center, and then you got these holes that kind of evenly divide the airflow to the actual charcoal. That sits on there. Charcoal basket goes on there, which it does have a grate, so you shouldn't lose all your charcoal through the bottom. And then an optional heat deflector sits above that. So you can use the heat deflector, or you can have it open, so you can experiment with that, which I like. It's nice to have that option. So there's a few pieces here. That could be a potential drawback, just because, every time you take something out, you have to take off a few pieces, but it seems pretty well designed from an airflow standpoint, and it should perform well based on what I see here. Okay, one thing I would like to see improved if they're to build this model in the future is to make sure that this ring that the ash basket, charcoal, everything sits on, the whole stack that controls the temperature, would be centered in the grill. Based on where the bolts are in the bottom, you have to have this a little off center, which to me doesn't make sense. Probably doesn't really affect the performance that much, but I think that's something that if you're to do it again, Oklahoma Joe, center this sucker up in the stack so it's nice and symmetrical. So you can see, just based on where these little bolts are on the inside of the ring, you can't move it to a centered position. It's going to be off center no matter what. So anyways, that is what it is. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with everything about this grill. So we got our ash basket, charcoal basket, heat deflector, and grill grate. So this is your kind of standard grill grate setup. You can also lower the grill grate. So if you're maybe trying to get closer to the fire, do some burgers, things of that nature, some steaks. Or you could potentially get a second grate, like from your Weber kettle. And then you got 2 grate setups, and if you already have a Weber kettle like the one I have, you could have access to the center, do some wings on the outside, be easy access. So I like this setup a lot if you already have some Weber kettle products. So that's the general grate setup and the charcoal basket and all that. But now the fun stuff, all the different accessories that it comes with. It comes with these hanging rods, 3 of them. So you got plenty of ample space to hang ribs, all sorts of things. Also comes with 9 of these hooks. And these hooks are actually pretty sharp to the point, so you're gonna have no problem getting those through ribs, chicken, etc. I do like that. I do own a pit barrel, and their hooks are kind of dull, which you can get it through, but this will make it a little easier. I like that. But you have 9 hooks you can hang about anything with. The obvious ones, ribs, chicken. You can also hang sausages, brisket. You can hang chuck roast, pork butts. The list goes on. So this is the setup. We got 2 hangers here, 3rd hanger. And what's nice about this is that it's grooved, so these aren't gonna move unless you want them to. So you can kind of pick it up, slide it. You can move it towards the outside, pick it up, slide it. Move it towards the other side. So like the setup arrangement possibilities are endless, which I love. I think that's really cool. Once again, you got 9 hooks for plenty of meat. If you do happen to have one of the Weber center cut grates, I like this setup as a possibility because you'd have like wings on the outside, have 1 hanger in place here, and you know, hang a rack of ribs or 2 while you're doing wings. So might play around with that a little bit, but I like the flexibility with what it comes with. It has a lot of flexibility, and then just having the 22-inch grate that is compatible with a lot of other grills, you can play around with a lot of different setups. That would be pretty cool. And as far as moving the hooks around, it does come with a kind of a hook hanger, so you can move things around at ease. One thing that does not come with the grill, but you can get, are these skewers. They got the screw on, screw off base on them. So if you're into like making tacos al pastor, you know, layer up some meats and veggies, skewer it up, then just put the bottom back on, and you can hang these bad boys right in the smoker, dangling above the fire. I can smell it right now, and it smells good. And then as far as build quality, overall it's a very solid grill. It feels very, you know, it's heavy. They didn't skimp on materials, but like a lot of grills, you know, they didn't go stainless on a lot of things. So this is porcelain coated steel. It'll hold up generally fine for quite a while with the grills I've had in the past. Maybe a couple years down the road, depending on how much you use it and how much you abuse it, you might want to upgrade for a stainless steel grill grate, perhaps one with different options, such as, you know, the ones I was showing you that we could allow you to hang and grill at the same time. And I wouldn't be surprised if they come out with their own accessories for this that would allow you to do a lot of different things, hanging, grilling, all at the same time. So keep an eye out for that. Overall, quality is not bad. It should last for a long time. Before we move on, if you want more videos on the Bronco Pro, definitely subscribe and ring that bell if you're not already subscribed. I'd love to see you on the next videos. I'll be putting some more out there real soon. All right, I'm excited to light this thing up and see how the temperature control works and then get some meat on this grill. All right, while the grill's heating up, just want to point out a few other details about this grill. One thing that would have been cool to integrate is some sort of a little better storage system for all of our accessories. I've been kind of experimenting what to do with those when you're using the grill, and this seems like an alright option, placing these guys, you know, you can kind of place them in the holes of this stand here. You can also kind of hang the hooks. You can like hang the hooks in these little grill grate type setup. But it would have been cool, you know, on this backside where they have like the nameplate, you know, maybe they could have integrated some sort of like better storage system for those accessories when you're actually using the grill. When you're not using it, you can place them back inside in the grill and it's really not an issue. All right, so it's been around 30 minutes. Smoker thermometer is saying closer to 275. And our grill grate temperature is around 300, a little over that, still climbing. So just out of curiosity, I'm going to close it down to a 1 and see how it reacts. All right, it's been about an hour or so, and it seems to be kind of settling around 260 when it's set at the 1 mark. And once again, it's reading a little higher than the gauge that's on the smoker, which is okay. Usually there's going to be some sort of difference. As long as you know it's there, it's fine. We're now just going to open it wide open. We got to burn off some of the oils and things that come with the smoker before we put our food on. Okay, it's been a few hours and we've had this going full tilt. So after I opened the vents up, it ramped up pretty quick to over 400. Around 20 minutes, it was over 400, and then just kept ramping up to around 475 and held there for a while, and it's slowly been dwindling down a little bit. So I'm just going to check out the firebox because it's been a few hours. I'm pretty confident like all the bad stuff in there that needs to be burned off is probably vented a little bit, and we're going to throw on some wings and see how they do on this smoker, because selfishly, that's one thing I really want to try out. With all that square footage on the grill grate for this, just with one grill grate, you can fit a ton of wings on there. And then if you had a second grill grate, like I showed earlier, with either a Weber grill or just any 22-inch grill grate that you add on to this, you could smoke a lot of wings, so, or a lot of ribs or anything else that you wanted to as well. So let's do some wings, check out the firebox, get those wings on. All right, so I flipped them again. It's been around 45 minutes or so. Some are a little more done than others, but they're all nice and crispy. I am like super stoked the way everything turned out the first time on this grill, and I can't wait to try the low and slow smoking sessions as well. Majority of these look just the way you'd want them to. That is perfect. Okay, before we try the chicken, just want to remind you, if you want to see more Bronco Pro videos, definitely subscribe. We'll be doing more of those in the future, doing the big boys, the ribs, the briskets, pulled pork, things of that nature. It's a really good wing. I think you can hear how crispy it is. So it definitely passed the wing test. That is up with any grilled wing I've ever had. I think Vortex wings are kind of the gold standard if you try those on the Weber kettle. These are like that, easily just as good. And you can fit a ton of wings on there with that whole grid. and then get another grate below that, and you'd have a huge wing setup. So I'm really excited about that. Now I just want to go through what I think the highlights and some improvements that could be made to the smoker after just using it for a day and getting to know it just a little bit better. All right, all the good things. Number one, all the setup options. You can set this thing up so many different ways. With the grate, without the grate, you can hang. You could even do a combo of grate and hanging if you have the right grill grate. And then just being able to have two grill grate levels. There's one setup I didn't even go over. That's where you can put the charcoal basket on top of the heat deflector and grill right on top of that for searing. So you can grill steaks on this if you want to and do high heat sears as well. Me, I'm probably not going to use it so much for that. Probably use it more as a smoker, but you can do that. So infinite options for setup. The temperature control is super easy on this. You just open and close both vents proportional to each other, and you should do fine. You can open it up, it gets hot really quickly. It heats up a lot faster than some other, high quality smokers. The Kamado smokers in general take a long time to heat up. This is pretty quick like other drum smokers. You can open it up and you can ramp up to 450 really quick. So you can go from low and slow, ramp it up quickly to finish off your meat if you want to, and things of that nature. Really good quality to have in a smoker. And the huge capacity, you can fit a ton of meat in this thing. It comes with 9 hooks. I don't know if that was kind of a dig at Pit Barrel. Pit Barrel cooker comes with 8 hooks last I checked. They have 9 on this one, so you can get 1 extra rib on here with a standard purchase. Obviously this is a little more expensive than a Pit Barrel cooker, but I do feel like it is inferior. I do own a Pit Barrel cooker and I love it. It works great, but this is really nice. I think if you want to spend a little bit more, that's a really nice option for you. And the value, I think value is a positive for this. I know it's $700. It's probably more than some of you want to spend. But for those who want to spend a little bit more, I think $700 is a really good value for what you get for this, just given the capacity and everything. It's kind of, if you're to look for something to compare it to, sometimes you can get, a large green egg closer to 700. After you buy accessories and everything, you're going to be all in for like $1,000 with a large green egg somewhere in there. And so it's kind of a little lower price point than that. And the quality of meat you can get off this is probably really nice. Obviously, we just did one cook today and we'll be doing more. So definitely subscribe and check those out if you want to see what the low and slow is like. But overall, I think it's a really good value for all the different combination of setups you can do. And back to temperature control, it does a wide range of temperatures. I haven't tried dialing it really, really slow, but just that range that you can work with on a daily basis, changing from one setup to another. Not all smokers do really high well. This one seems to do really high, 450 range really well, crisping up those wings. So we'll test out the low and slow, but it seems to be a high point for me, the temperature range and flexibility. Okay, so some of the things they could improve upon are things you may want to upgrade after you purchase one of these. The grill grate being the porcelain coated, I'm not a huge fan of that just because of the wear and tear, and you have to be a little more careful with it. I'd prefer stainless steel. So you don't have to upgrade that right away, but a couple years down the road, that's something you might want to keep in mind. But if you already own a Weber kettle, you're already set up, and you have a stainless steel for that, it'll work just fine on this if you have a 22-inch kettle. So think of that what you will. One thing that could be looked at as a possible downside is just you have quite a few parts to get out of there and put back in every time you clean it out and put it back together. Not an infinite amount, but you have like 4 or 5 parts, and just kind of like arranging those, and after they're greasy and kind of grimy, just keep that in mind. There are simpler setups. That being said, this isn't overly complicated, but you do have a little bit of in and out with these parts to get your grill going and get it fired up. The one thing I would probably love to see is adding a few hooks on the outside just to hang your utensils. Like usually you have tongs that you want to hang. There's no real hook on the outside of this, so it comes with hooks, and you could probably fashion a hook out of those. But if there's just a few more of those like accessory holders on the grill itself, that would be great. And along with that, I would love it if it had a second shelf on the left side, just like it has on the right side, just so you could have your tray of meat and then have like a clean tray, or have your temperature control device on one side and your tray on the other. That would be great if there's just a little more storage on that left side. So that's something to think about. And the last thing, I hit on it during the review, but it would be nice if that center stack was actually really centered on the grill. It may not make that big a difference, but just constructing this thing from scratch, that's something I would have designed in, is make sure that that center stack could actually be centered. Right now it has to be a little off center just because of the way the bolts from the bottom come through. on the smoker. So maybe that's something that could be resolved. But overall, I think this is a really good smoker. I'm happy Oklahoma Joe sent me one to work with and play with. I'd give you my honest review. I hold nothing back. So I haven't found anything glaring at all. I think it's a really good product, well made, very heavy duty. Like I said, very, it's 250 pounds or somewhere in that range. And I think you'd really enjoy using it so far. But I'm gonna put it through all the tests. So we're gonna do all the big boy cooks. So make sure to subscribe and hit that bell if you haven't already to the channel, and you'll see more cooks in the Bronco Pro. And when I have more videos, I'll be putting a link to the playlist up there in the corner of the video as well. So if it's not there now, check back. You'll see more videos on the Bronco Pro coming soon. I promise. We'll see you next time at Seared and Smoke, where food always tastes better outdoors.